All right. All right, y'all. Welcome to the third Thursday webinar, the July 3rd Thursday webinar on navigating grief during recovery, strategies for resilience and growth. And my name is Cassie Wood. I am a woman in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is it's been 5 years since I've had the obsession to use any illicit substance. I'm a great friend, daughter, and mother today. And it's also my birthday. If you weren't here to hear that, and that's pretty wild considering I didn't think I would live past the age of 21. But I stand before you, 34. Wow.
Happy birthday.
What?
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Yes. So this webinar is going to be about understanding and managing grief in recovery, and that is difficult. This training provides essential insights for individuals in recovery from substance use, delving into the stages of grief, highlighting the risks of setbacks, and equipping participants with coping strategies to support their recovery. It emphasizes the creation of personalized recovery action plans, offering tools for resilience and the ability to maintain progress amidst the challenges of loss. Participants will leave with practical skills and a deeper appreciation for how to navigate the complexities of grief without compromising their recovery journey. This will be an interactive process, so we ask for your engagement and participation. Please keep your microphone on mute if you are not speaking. As host, I will mute you if needed. Everyone who remains to the end of this webinar will receive 1.5 CEUs. You will receive a certificate from Al. He's here and he said he'll probably get those out next week, earliest Wednesday or after that. Anyone who shows up more than 15 minutes late or has to step away for that long may continue to attend the webinar, but they may not receive credit. And then make sure the name on your screen matches the name you want on your certificate. And you can include your pronouns as well so we can address you correctly. First, we're going to do a poll as we always do and see who is here. So if you could tell us who you are. There we go. Lots of cares. Some MHs, some Ps, aspiring. All right. 81% cares. Thank y'all for doing that in the poll. All right, and today's presenters are going to be Tony Sanchez, as you know, and Jamie Scott as well. And so I'm going to hand it on over to Tony.
Thank you so much, Cassie. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? I love the faces. I'm really honored and glad to be with you here today. Me and my co-presenter, Jamie Scott, and you'll hear from him in a minute. I mean, again, I'm just humbled and in awe that, so many new faces are, so many faces that I don't even know, right? On this call. I'm excited and I'm humbled. I'm gonna put the slide presentation on, and I need to just a self-disclaimer. Every time I present, I've been doing this for a long time. I always get a little bit nervous, right? For me, it just says that it's important. And what I'm about to talk about is important to me, right? But then it'll go away. But I've been doing this for a long time, and I always get nervous when I start. Let me share my screen. Give me 1 second. Can y'all see that?
Yep, looks good.
All right, awesome, awesome. So again, I just want to again, I'm honored and humbled to be asked to present this topic. This topic is something that's very near and dear to me, right? I'm a the way that this presentation came about, in 2020, well, 2019, of course, COVID happened, right? Changed the world, you know what I mean? And so there was a sense of loss and isolation there. And I lost I was a caregiver to my wife. I was married for 26 years and she passed away in on October 24th, 2020. And even though I thought I was prepared, even though I was a caregiver for a long time, even though I have this amazing support system, I was working at DBHDD at the time as the director for the Office of Recovery Transformation. When she passed away, it hit me like a ton of bricks. You know what I mean? And um, it paralyzed me. It put me under the covers. I didn't understand what was really going on. Well, conceptually, I understood. However, like just dealing with the emotions and the pain and feeling like this pain was never gonna go away, almost to the point where, I thought it was what started to come up for me was that maybe it's a good idea to use again, at least to take the pain away. You know what I mean? I'm um so grateful for my network. I'm so grateful for the relationship that I have with the God of my understanding. I'm so grateful for the foundation that has been laid. You know what I mean? That I didn't go that route. You know what I mean? However, that was the beginning of using that experience to help others. One of the things that I truly believe is that everything and anything that we go through, everything and anything that I go through, it's really an opportunity to help someone else, right? You know what I mean? My job is to get there, right? You know what I mean? To go through so that I can get to that place where I can help someone else. 2 years after my wife passed, my mother passed, you know, and 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 although it didn't impact me the same way, I still to this day, can feel, like on any given day, I can still feel those emotions like it just happened. As a matter of fact, yesterday was my wife's birthday. And so I've been really pensive, you know what I mean, these last couple of weeks, knowing that her birthday was going to come up, you know what I mean? And although I've done a lot of work since that has happened, I'm still not immune to, the grief process, right? So like we're gonna share, Jamie and I are gonna share some information with you all today, you know what I'm saying, based on, I mean, some of it is evidence-based, you know what I mean? A lot of it is going to be based on our personal experience, but hopefully we'll create a space where you feel comfortable enough to talk about you and how you help others. Because of the amount of people that are here today, usually we like to let people, like open it up for conversation. However, what we've decided to do is to go through the material and then having some time at the end, and we're willing to stay after the allotted time to have conversations, take questions, if that's okay. All right. So again, my name is Tony Sanchez, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means for me, it's been over 25 years since I've had any mind, mood altering substances. Because of my recovery, I get to live this amazing life, you know what I mean? And I get to be present and share my lived experience with others. I went through CARES 1 and CARES 71, and the CARES training was foundational to everything that I've done since. I identify as a Puerto Rican from the Bronx, right? And that's really important for me because matter of fact, I was just in New York last week, and there's still a lot of I mean, in the community where I grew up it's really can be really marginalized, and there's still a lot of challenges with individuals with mental health and substance abuse challenges, and I never want to forget where I came from, you know what I'm saying, and know that even though I made it out, there's still people who still need help, you know what I mean, there, right? So I always want to bring that up. I consider myself a recovery advocate and ally. I'm a facilitator. I'm a connector. I'm definitely a believer, and I am a father and a grandfather. I have a 40-year-old son through marriage. I have a 16-year-old grandson, and I have a 3-year-old son, Braden, and he is amazing, and I'm just so blessed to be able to still live life and still have new opportunities. I'm sorry, Jamie. And with that, Jamie,
Man, let me say good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for hitting pause on your busy schedules just to come in and chime in and see what me and Tony have to share about on this topic of grief. And this is something that all of us have experienced, so that's what makes it dear to my heart. The loss of a loved one, a friend, that can be a friend, that can be a pet, that can be anyone that's in your circle or you've given allowance to come into your personal space. So, and if that hasn't happened, kudos to you. I celebrate you in that. But as the older saints would say, and what they told me, just live a little while longer, But we also know that joy cometh in the morning. If we just continue to endure. So my name is Jamie Scott, and I have the opportunity of being one of the servants at the Sparrow's Nest, and that's where I work at. And it's a place in our community in downtown Athens that serves the those that are unsheltered, unhoused, and those that happen to live under the poverty level. Me and Tony have been working together for close to 15 years or north of that, just around recovery, sharing our stories in jails, under bridges in our community. And we're grateful for CARES allowing us how to step into the next phase of that so we could share our stories. So I'm a person in long-term recovery, and that's for like 21 years. I've been happily married for 18 years to a beautiful wife. Her name is Terry. And I'm so grateful that God put her in my life. I understand that there's different pathways and many pathways to recovery, and you'll see even in these slides today that there's many different pathways to grieving. Right? Everyone don't grieve the same. Some people grieve longer than others. Some people compound grief, so on and so forth. But my pathway was in my faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and that's just what works for me, right? I'm a minister of the gospel of Jesus, and I'm also a facilitator of evidence-based therapeutic classes called Breaking the Cycle. It's a three-class phase. It starts off with breaking the cycle, getting it right, accomplishing your goals, where we graduate guys who are homeless and that fall into the places of unsheltered that we're able to do with a hat and gown ceremony, paying them to take it through, so on and so forth. But last but least, I kind of started with this, and I'll end with this. I believe in living my faith and recovery out loud. So just as loud I am about Jesus, I am about what he's done for me through recovery. And I'm excited to just lean in a little bit further today and have a conversation with you guys. Thanks.
thank you, Jamie, man. I'm glad you're here, man. That's a good picture, boy. I like can't hire money. um, so I learned the objectives, right? You know what I mean? To define grief in its stages. We want to just talk about grief. Like Jamie said, it hits people very different. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you know what I mean? We'll talk about those things. That just people grieve differently. You know what I mean? Discuss the intersection of grief and recovery, and just fact that for people in recovery, you know what I mean, we just definitely got to pay attention, just like I mean, like everybody else, to our emotional states. You know what I'm saying? And I, because I mean, I talked a little bit about when my wife passed away and how I felt and how intense the pain was that. I started to believe or started to think that using may have been a viable option. Not because I know that using was going to work for me, you know what I mean? Because what I mean, my pathway is abstinence based, however, I just wanted the pain to go away, you know, and to explore some strategies for managing grief and recovery. Um, so for the purpose of this webinar, right, we're gonna, talk about this definition, right? I mean, we're gonna just read this out. So what is grief, right? So grief is a natural emotional response to loss. It is a complex process that varies greatly from person to person and can encompass a range of emotions such as sadness, anger, guilt, and disbelief. And now, listen, I wanna just say, like, because Jamie and I are gonna go through the information, but if there's something that pops out, please put it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a comment, if you know what I mean, just because we are monitoring, Cassie and Al are monitoring the chat. You know what I mean? So we want to make sure that we respond appropriately to any questions or comments that you may have. And I also want to say that, like, listen, Jamie and I are not the end all of this topic. You know what I'm saying? And we know that there's a lot of people on this call with experiences, you know what I'm saying, that may be invaluable to us all, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Just as Jamie and I are disseminating this information, we are also lifelong learners, and we also want to learn from you as well. Um, so Paul, Cassie, how do you want to handle it? Do I just ask it and just ask them to put their response in the chat?
I'm gonna launch the poll and they'll respond. So I'm about to launch it right now. You can say it. You want to read it?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you. So, which of the following statements about grief is true? A, grief follows a linear and predictable pattern. B, grief only affects emotions. C, understanding and expressing grief can lead to growth and healing despite its unpredictable and varied nature. D, children do not grieve. All
Yep, and
right.
they're coming in and everyone is saying C, like 100%. But one person put A, but mostly everybody's doing C.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I
fine.
see that. I see one person put a grief follows a linear and predictable pattern, and then another person put in children do not grieve, but the majority of individuals are putting in understanding and expressing grief can lead to growth and healing despite its unpredictable and varied nature.
Yep, I'm gonna end it and share the results to everybody. Good to go.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, the majority of individuals who are here pick C, and actually C is the correct answer. All right. Understanding and expressing grief can lead to growth and healing despite its unpredictable and varied nature. So, I want to talk a little bit about common misconceptions about grief. Like, grief follows a linear and predictable pattern, right? Although there's, you know what I mean, I mean, pretty sure everybody here has heard about the stages of grief, denial, bargaining, depression, anger, you know what I'm saying? However, you know what I mean, grief, I mean, people grieve differently, right? You know what I'm saying? And some people may even miss some of those stages. Some people may go straight to anger, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's not a linear and predictable, predictable pattern. The grief has a set timeline. I mean, people grieve different. You know what I'm saying? Some people, may, people grieve and heal different. I still like my wife, I mean, her she passed away going on 6 years ago, and there's still times when it still, impacts me like it just happened. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just so grateful, man, that I got people in my life, and I've done some things to know that, this too shall pass, right? I mean, grief only follows death. No, that's not necessarily true. Any loss, like, like Jamie stated earlier, you know what I mean? It could be the loss of a pet, loss of a job, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a way of life. You know what I'm saying? Any tremendous loss that changes or impacts the way that I feel, I can actually grieve. There's a moving on means forgetting about the loss. You know what I mean? Just because I'm healing, you know what I'm saying, doesn't mean that I'm forgetting about my loved one. You know what I mean? Like, so that's not necessarily true. So, you know what I mean? Learning how to deal with those feelings of guilt that may come up, if I start to move on, get into a new relationship, or just not hurt as much. Because initially when my wife passed away, like the pain was so intense, I didn't think it was ever gonna go away. And it's not like that anymore. And I'm grateful for that, right? That one of the things that strong emotions should be kept private or suppressed. I think that was a huge one for me. You know what I mean? Especially, you know what I mean? I was at the time, when I lost my wife, I was the director for the Office of Recovery Transformation at the Department of Behavioral Health. You know what I mean? And I was always out in the front lines. I'm always at the podium. I'm always speaking. And it's a friend of mine who I'm so grateful for the people in my life who will tell me the truth, right? Because someone say, yeah, we know you're Tony Sanchez, but you know what? You're just Tony Sanchez. You know what I mean? Meaning that I'm a man and that I feel like anyone else and that I needed to give myself permission to be with those emotions, you know what I'm saying? And deal with those emotions and talk about what I was feeling. And that was paramount. That was instrumental to me starting in my healing process. Another one is that if you don't cry, it means you're not sad about the loss. That's not true because people grieve different. You know what I mean? Just people just do. You know what I mean? Not everyone cries. You know what I mean? I do. I'm a crier. You know what I mean? But like not everyone is. You know, the affects emotions. No, man, it can affect my mental state, my physical state. My blood pressure can go up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can lose weight. I can gain weight because I can use anything to cope. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just an emotional state. And then that children do not grieve. That's not true either. You know what I mean? Children may grieve different than adults, maybe because they may not be able to articulate, you know what I'm saying, what they're actually feeling or get in touch with those emotions. But as adults, we need to pay attention that children can and do grieve as well. And again, if there's any comments or anything that I missed, I mean, please put it in the chat. All right, Jamie?
Thank you, Tony. So, you'll see five stages that we talk about far as in grief, right? And those stages, one is denial, and that denial component could look like, when you hear someone. I know for me, when I heard that my grandma had passed, I was in addiction, I was in the trap, I know exactly where I was at. Even though I wasn't in my, best state of mind, I still know exactly where I was at my lowest point. And I was in the trap. I didn't want to believe it. I was shocked. It was like everything paused. Kind of like when if you're in an accident and you be kind of joggled some or whatever else. That's the way that I kind of heard it, but I didn't want to deal with it, so I went deeper into my addiction. Anger is another one, and what that simply talks about, and that we talk about when it comes to anger, as pain emerges, the individual may direct it in the form of anger, which can be aimed at in intimate objects, strangers, friends, or family. It can come out just anywhere. And, if I be honest with you, I have some of those days, not cursing nobody out or whatever else. I can control it. But if I don't get the proper rest, and if the reason why I'm not getting the proper rest is because I'm grieving over not just the loss of a loved one, something that I felt like I could have in ministry responded to a person in a better way, if it was like, if I just, got angry and at myself, and me being my biggest critic, that can not just affect you but also those that are around you. Bargaining is one, depression is one, and acceptance is the last one. I won't touch on all of these, but I want to talk about the depressions part of it. It says that as the reality of the loss takes hold, sadness and regret predominates, right? This stage may involve isolation, crying, or a sense of despair. And grief can put you into a place that where you may be isolating and thinking that I'm isolating for the greater good of it, and at times you may want to get by yourself. You may be a loner. But one of the things that we seen that this didn't work so well in was during COVID, right, when we had to go into isolation, not just by choice but during this time. A lot of kids, they call them, we speak of these moments now as post-COVID or pre-COVID or COVID children. But when a lot of people ice was in quarantine during this time, suicide rates went up, right? And I think they may have just been grieving of not being able to get out, right? Be able to be a part of community. So it mutates in just different forms. The last one is acceptance and understanding that the new reality is permanent. The individual to look may start to look forward and plan things in the future. So for me, in the place that where I work at the Sparrow's Nest, right? And thank God that a lot of our clientele of people that are homeless, the death rate has has started to trend down some. But what we do just in our ministry, right, is when a person passed, they don't have a lot of times family or next to kin that we can reach out to, and we recognize them by putting their picture up on our projector, showing it the whole week. For homegoing celebration, I have flowers that I bought from the florist. They're not the ones I forget what type material it is, that the ones that you can put on the graves or whatever else, put it on a tri-stand. We have a service, a homegoing celebration. But some people weren't able to accept even that of being in the community or having a friend that has just lost their lives. I know someone in the group chat had. I just want to just say you're in my prayers, my friend. I seen that post when it came up, and you said you just lost a friend to fentanyl over 20 years. That you was in friendship with. So I pray that this will be meaningful to you, and that if it's, I know that there's different seasons, but once you get to that point of acceptance, I think we begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Some, not saying that we're saying goodbye forever, because you can carry people in your heart still and by fun memories, but accepting that, life goes on. All right, Tony. So challenges of grieving during recovery. Whether that's emotional volatility, triggers that happen to set you back, coping skills, or compound losses. I want to talk a little bit about. I won't share on all four of these, but I want to talk about. In recovery, it says that recovery often involves learning to manage emotions without the use of substances. And if we reflect back when we were in our addiction, I didn't think that I could live life without it. I had to get incarcerated to get myself clean. I had to find Jesus in prison and find recovery in prison. But the thing about it, when the grief introduces itself, it's often overwhelming and emotions can be difficult to navigate. But I didn't think that I could live life without having to use something, but you actually can. Another one is trigger for a setback. The pain of loss can act as a trigger. So the pain of the loss of a loved one or something, it doesn't just have to be a family member, a friend, or whatever else. It can be a pet, like I said. It can be your job. It can be several different things. But what we begin to see that the pain of loss that can act as a trigger, leading individuals to seek comfort or escape, which can result to returning to using again. The last one that I want to speak on is compound losses. And it says many people in recovery have experienced multiple losses. So this is more than one. Some of us are just, uh, uh, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be a loved one. It can be a job. It can be not just either or, both and then some. But what we like to speak about on that today is just that many people in recovery have experienced multiple losses, including the loss of relationships or opportunities due to their addiction. Grieving a new loss can reopen past wounds. And we're going to talk about, how do you get past that? If you're in that place right now, if you're dealing with something that's going on in your life right now. And as I'm looking at our training, I see 122 people that are chimed in. So in a room, I know that size, that there's several people in the room that are dealing with this right now and in this time. So hopefully this will be able to be something that you can put in your tool belt and yeah, just help you navigate forward.
Yeah. Before I go to the next slide, Jamie, man, can I just chime in real quick?
Please.
So and because I want to like that the point that you just made, I just want to highlight that. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the poll when we first started, you know what I mean, we are the majority of the people here are certified peer specialists, either on the AD side, MH, or both, right? Meaning that we're givers, right? We show up for people day in, day out, day in and day out. However, you know what I'm saying? One of the things that I had to realize is that sometimes I'm the one, even though I belong to that group, sometimes I'm the one that needs help too, right? So whether it's the help or get help, you know what I'm saying? Especially when life shows up in ways that I don't want it to, right? Especially like in the death of a lost one, or the loss of life, or loss of a relationship, when the pain can become so great, you know what I'm saying, that I may need the help, you know what I'm saying? And I think, you know what I mean? I think if we don't get anything out of what Jamie and I are talking about, is that this is no one is exempt. You know what I'm saying? No one is exempt. So this is an opportunity to maybe, you know what I mean, just to connect, to lean in, or just know that, if not here, go somewhere where, you know what I mean, where you can stay connected in order to be protected. Um, Jamie, sorry.
Okay. Next slide. So, risks of unresolved grief, right? Not taking care of it, not trying to deal with it, not trying to face it. We know that chronic emotional distress, the piece that being unresolved and grief in that area can lead to prolonged depression, anxiety, and inability to experience pleasure in life. And when I read when I read this, and when we were implementing these into the slides, and as Tony was introducing it to me, you know, I started thinking, you know, I've had the opportunity, and me and my wife, we're getting ready to go on a cruise now. My birthday is next week. We're getting ready to go on a cruise. I'll be out for 2 weeks. And you know, but there's been some times that where I'm actually we're on cruise, and everything is working. Everything is working. I'm with my beautiful wife. Account is blessed. We're on vacation, but there was a moment to where I was saying, man, I still feel like I should be a little bit happier. And why not? And I think some of the thing that I was dealing with at the time, I was bringing some stress with the job for me, on the cruise, and not really releasing. Uh, and I knew it, but it wasn't allowing me to experience the pleasure of our vacation in that time for and my wife that we waited on a whole year to experience. So that's kind of I've dealt with that. I can identify with that. Another one is physical health issues. The stress of chronic grief can weaken the immune system, disrupt sleep, and exacerbate uh, no exacerbate existing health conditions. So grief can if grief can turn into anxiety, and anxiety can turn into stress, or if grief can turn into stress, stress is not good for anyone. We know that things that come from stress can be high blood pressure. Right now we're talking about chronic conditions. It can be not just high blood pressure, it can be it could create ulcers if you continue to stress. Ulcers can be a whole nother issue. So not really trying to deal with your grief, or just being silent about it, or not knowing what to do. This is what I want to encourage everyone on this training of right here, and want to share with you with something that was shared with me in church, that we were having at once upon a time. It's okay to be that way, but it's not okay to want to stay that way. You should reach out to someone somewhere and just, begin to have some conversations around that. We see another one that's on the list far as mental health, right? And when it comes to mental health challenges, unresolved grief can contribute to the development of worsening of mental health disorders such as PTSD, major depressive disorder, and complicated grief. Next slide, please, Tony. And in the spirit of time, I'm trying to and look, we're learning along the way, but we do want to be available for a period of time at the end of our presentation to open it up for some questions, or whatever else. Pray out however you guys want to do it, but I'm just trying to, in the spirit of time, be mindful of the times. So um,
Cool. Yeah, this one is one, right? So you know what I mean. So and thank you, Jamie, right? And so there are coping strategies. One of the things that I learned is that I can learn what to do or what not to do, right? So we're gonna talk, about unhealthy strategies, and I'm probably not gonna hit on all of them. You know what I'm saying? But like, if in the chat, please, like, if there's things, I mean, if these are go-to unhealthy strategies, like for me, it can be isolation at times. There's still times when, that when it becomes a little bit too overwhelming for me, you know what I mean, I need to fall back. I may get up under the covers. You know what I mean? One of the things that I learned to do is that I give myself a break, but I learn not to stay there, right? So, withdrawn from social interactions and support systems. Of course, we all know what substance use, I mean, one of the things about drugs is that they work. They work really, really good. They work too damn good. You know what I'm saying? But also, so for me, I really, stay away from that one. Overeating or undereating, that's the big one for me. I even, what I mean, for like when I was um as a caregiver, you know what I'm saying, and it was there was a
I'm
law.
sorry, you can't leave a message because
Um, okay. When as a caregiver, there was a loss of a way of life, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I had was, me and my good friend Oreo cookies. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And I ended up gaining a lot of weight. I went up to like almost 280 pounds. And I stayed like that for a long time, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful because now that I have my son and he's three, you know what I mean, I'm actively leaning in and I've lost, some weight and I've gotten healthier, but also excessive working. A lot of times the way that I would just block everything out, it was that I would just dive into work, and it gave me the illusion of being productive, right? That I was doing something that was meaningful, but what I was really doing was not dealing with the emotions, you know what I'm saying, that I was actually feeling. And so they weren't going anywhere. So there's risky behaviors, there's self-harm and rumination, obsessively thinking about the loss without moving forward, that obsessive, that obsessive thought patterns that can be created. So, what I mean, what I would ask, just type in the chat, like, which ones do you that y'all relate to, and we can talk about them after, right? And then I want to talk about healthy strategies, right? You know what I mean? So, seeking social supports, reaching out to friends, families, or joining support groups. You know what I mean? Again, you know what I mean? Person in long-term recovery. My pathway has been 12 step. I'm still, You know what I mean? I still go to meetings on a regular basis. That's where, I found my tribe. I also go to church as well. You know what I mean? That's something that I've learned too through my relationship with God. And I have, and people hold me accountable, um, there as well. The most important thing, right? Because, you know what I mean, is that, I stay connected in order to be protected because when I'm by myself, you know what I'm saying, with the voices in my head that sound just like me, you know what I mean, I can get into trouble. You know what I'm saying? It's a fact that I feel, but my feelings aren't facts, right? So I need people me the truth to be my blind spots, right? Therapy and counseling, man, I will sign up in a in a minute. I have a therapist now, and I go to, you know what I mean, that I see, every other week. Physical activities. I just talked about um having my 3-year-old son, you know what I mean? And he's always wants to race. He's 3 years old. And everywhere he go, he want to race. Come on, I race you, Dad. I race you. And what he doesn't know, I don't know if he thinks I'm letting him win, but he's actually beating me. But I'm close, though. I'm getting better. I just need to tell y'all that. I'm working on it, and I surely believe that probably by the time he's 5, I'm going to get
So
him.
he's beating you at 4, Tony.
He's 3. He's 3. He's beating me. He's beating me at 3. Yeah. He likes to cheat, but you know what I mean? I ain't gonna blow him up right now. You know, creative expression. Some people use art, you know what I mean? Drawing, painting. I used to write. I don't write as much as I used to, but that was a way to get my emotions out. You know what I mean? And I mean, so whatever these things are, any healthy routine that allows you to get in touch with yourself, you know what I'm saying? And deal with, with what you're feeling, then go for it. You know what I mean? With this with healthy strategies, I also want to ask you, you know what I'm saying, if you can put in the chat the things that you gravitate toward, things that that has worked for you. And also, you know what I'm saying, for unhealthy and healthy strategies, things that you may have not seen on the list that should be on the list as well, that you'd like to share with everyone. You know what I'm saying? We'd like to hear from that as well. Um, Jamie, this is yours. You're on mute, Jamie.
Sorry. Support systems. We're going to talk about a few of them, few support systems. I love the things I see going up in the chats, man. Thank you guys so much. But we're going to talk about a few of these. In the first support system, we want to talk about just a mutual aid support uh, group, whether that's through your peer connections for as forming bonds with those who have similar experiences, right? Other peers. That's why I think one of the things that make NAAA and Georgia Council of Substance Abuse so effective far as having the cares connect, having things like these webinars, so on and so forth. I know that sometimes it's outside of our scope of when we can join or whatever else, but when you can join, it's just good being part of a group. And I believe that circles are better than rows, right? That you can see the logo on this one that has circles around it because it feels like more of community when you're sitting in a circle instead of on the row, because somebody can be at one end and someone at the other end, but when you're forming a circle, it feels more personal. So just pure connections is great. Sharing your lived experiences, learning from others' stories, and sharing your own. There's powers in stories. Is power in your testimony, so on and so forth. Group dynamics, the benefits that come from that is just, having discussions amongst one another, getting together. And one of the things I'm a part of, and I just want to kind of just, give a little few shouts out to my church, which is Athens Church. It's in 3 different locations, so on and so forth. It's after the Andy Stanley model that they kind of drew it from, but it's over 5,000 people that meet at one location. But at this one location, that's not where the bulk of the people are inside of the church. it's in small groups that people come together on Wednesdays, like Bible studies or whatever else, and sharing these things that we're talking about, and sharing our stories, and how can you be praying for me and my family. And me and this group have, it was only supposed to last, it's the group with me and Sean C, the pastor that are in, supposed to last it for like 2 years. Man, we're pre-COVID. We're like 7 years in, and nobody want to leave nobody, which is a good thing. Having accessibility, as well as mutual support. You know, it's almost like a soda machine approach, right? In order to get a Coca-Cola out in the moments before they came with all the technology with the cards and you can swipe, you had to put some money in, or do like Tony did when he was in his addiction. He had his whole shoulder up in the machine and he pull out the whole. Yeah. So the next slide, I want to talk to you about, which is I think Tony gonna, yep, which is being important to have into your support system. Therapy, right? Counseling and coaching. That is huge. It is huge. I heard somebody, I seen someone put in the comments that what they do, they journal. I've seen other, and there's been so many other great ones in the chat box. But you know, professional guidance, working with trained professionals, as far as personalizing your care. You know, there's a lot of things out there now that if you have insurance, if you don't have insurance, that they'll see you and just meet you where you're at, no matter where you're at. Therapeutic techniques, you know, that could be something for us to use as specialized techniques to process grief, such as CBTs or EMDRs. Having a safe space, confidential setting to discuss and process feelings. So what that means for me, having a safe space, having that accountability partner, man, that you can talk to about any and everything, whether you're having a good day or you didn't have a good day, right? Um, uh, I just had the opportunity of doing a funeral for a friend of mine who I was raised up with Saturday. And, you know, it was tough. And one of the reasons why this was tough for me and also tough for the family, she was in her addiction, and she got hold of some bad of some bad drugs, and it landed her in the hospital where they had to put a trach in her throat, this and that. There, she fought for about 7 or 8 months, you know, but she still had a relationship, I believe, and I with all my heart, with the Lord. And you know, we don't know where a person may have given their life even during those moments to God. So, but that was rough for me, and it gave me the opportunity, though, to encourage them and say some of the things that we're sharing in these slides. You know, it's okay to grieve. The children of Israel, they grieved Moses for 30 days, let's say for a whole month. When he died, they grieved, and they grieved for a long time. But then they began to pick themselves up and then begin to move forward, trusting God in their future. Um, uh, Long-term planning, having a long-term planning, developing strategies for handling future stressors and triggers. You know, plan something out, man. If you know that um, um, uh, uh, you're struggling with something, or it's something that a place that you was at once upon a time that may have been a trigger or whatever else, you know, put something in planning to see just what if I went and tried to get some counseling around this, or even some coaching around this.
So,
Um,
Jamie and Tony, I will let you know you are about halfway through.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Al.
Okay, thank you. Um, uh, being consistent, far as in progress tracking, and then what that simply means is monitoring and to discuss the progress with a consistent figure, someone else, man. Being consistent into your support system, and that's one of the things that I talked about in our small group. Just analogy I was using with you guys that we host at my home. We may do one at my home. We may do one at the other married couple homes, but we've been doing this consistently for like 7 years. Next slide, please, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Okay, another great thing for us having in your support system is social activities. That's okay to have for us attending social gatherings, clubs, or public events that's not going to be a trigger to you or whatever else, so on and so forth. I remember when I first got out, man, I was scared to go anywhere because of being an addiction for over 21 years, right? Or struggling with different substances. And majority of my family, they get down, they hustlers, they that's just majority of them. And a lot of them don't stay there now, but we're in the inner city neighborhoods, and I'm a housing authority child myself, but I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to attend anything. If it wasn't church or work, don't even call me. But it's okay to get out and mingle, because that's how life works in community with other people. That's how we meet friends and have new opportunities. Um, uh, Volunteering opportunities. This is what I tell people, finding a purpose and helping others and giving back helps you just building a support system. So, what is that? What does that look like? I had the opportunity and have the opportunity still at times to go over to the UGA and just share with some people, some students, as far as when it comes to nonprofit work and kind of how we do it and how we've been blessed in doing it, so on and so forth. So I'm in this one class, and with Professor Ghanem's class, and it's a leadership on nonprofit. And one of the questions was asked. They said, "Well, look, we've followed the Sparrow's Nest. We've been over there, so on and so forth, this and that, there. But when you hire Jamie, what is it that you're looking for, and someone that's looking to try to make a career in this field or get a job in this field?" And you know what I tell people, and I still tell people today, you know, the degrees are great, but the heart and just if you've done something for free, volunteered on it, and you didn't ask for anything, that's kind of like the person, and that can show me a track record of that. That's kind of like the person that I lean into the that would be a hire for me. Now, uh, but there's a sense of just confidence and giving back to someone else, and you begin to see your own story in several places. And if you don't know where to volunteer at, I just advise you of what is it, that one thing that breaks your heart, right? What's that one thing that if you're riding down the street and you see a little kid on the side and it's freezing outside. It could be mucus running down his face, no clothes on, no shoes on. Is it a child? Is it something around children that makes your heart bend to? Is it when you see a lady that that has black eyes, that's in that's maybe in a domestic violence situation? Is it when you see someone that is homeless? Whatever that one thing it is that breaks your heart, that's probably what God is calling you to volunteer to or to get into. Um, cultural cultural events. Participate in events that celebrate and foster cultural connection. So it's on the tip of my tongue. At the state capitol, what day is that, Tony? That everybody go
Arad?
yes, ARAD, getting involved with things when it comes to so on and so forth. Educational programs, learning new skills or information through workshop and classes. That's a nice one for support. And whether it's spiritual support, whatever your belief may be, whatever your higher power may be, we know that there's different pathways, but whatever works for you. So having access to spiritual or religious groups that can offer you comfort, and I think that's great support. All right, Tony, next slide.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. And again, I just want to reiterate that we will be sending the slides to everyone. You know what I'm saying? So like, I know that there's a lot of information. There's some things that you may be doing, and looking at the chat, there are some great comments. And there may be some new ideas. You know what I'm saying? Some things that you have not tried and be willing to try. I know that everything that I'm sharing, I haven't necessarily done, but there are some things that I gravitate toward. You know what I mean? But it's really important. Again, as givers, right? As we're the helpers, right? You know what I'm saying? That we take care of ourselves so that we can show up in a way that's beneficial for everyone involved, right? And so, because we talk a lot, I've been doing this for a long time, and everywhere I go, every like conference I go to, there's always a self-care component of it. You know what I'm saying? However, I have to really be honest with myself. Do I really take the time to take care of myself? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it starts off with like, do I sleep enough? Do I eat, do I eat good enough? Do I rest enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I make sure that I'm prepared, that I take away, some of the things that I'm gonna just call noise out of my life, you know what I'm saying, so that I can be fully present. One of the things that I do with my 3-year-old, you know what? Let me be honest right now, because it's not me doing it with him. He reminds me, like when we're together, like you know what I'm saying, and it's in the afternoon, I can't get on the computer, like you know what I'm saying, I can't, because he'll like tell me, he said, Dada, I am not in school and you're not at work. Let's play. You know what I'm saying? So and it's a really good reminder to let me know, man, that I need to be so that I can be present. Hold on for a second. So that I can be fully present. Um did I just go back to the beginning? I'm sorry. Am I still sharing? No, I'm not. All
No,
right. Give me 1 second. I apologize.
all right, you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you, Tony. You're just not sharing yet right
We can
now.
hear you.
No, I'm having technical difficulties. I don't know what. Hold up, wait a minute. I apologize.
Happens to the best of us. God bless technology.
We can see you now.
Hold on.
it? See it? We
There
good?
we
Yes.
go. It says
All right.
self-care
All
and
right.
grief.
Thank you for
There we
your
go.
patience. All right. So it's storming over here. I'm in Athens. It's storming over here. You know what I mean? But I got some contingency plans if my power and my internet goes out. But again, self-care and recovery. You know what I'm saying? Like just doing a better job, enhancing recovery through well-being. There's my physical health. You know what I mean? One of the things. How I can improve on that is through foundational recovery directly impact my foundational recovery directly impacts my emotional well-being, right? You know what I mean? So making sure that I reduce stress, you know what I mean, that I'm paying attention what I'm eating, you know what I mean, exercise. And Cassie, you know what I mean, you're an amazing example of that, and I always thank you for living that part of your recovery out loud as well. And that physical activity, you know what I mean, it does have its benefits. You know what I mean, it releases endorphins, right? You know what I mean, that boosts my mood naturally. Getting leaning into things that I like to do. People I like to read, but sometimes, man, I just like to, sit on the couch, man, go downstairs and, grab the remote, you know what I'm saying, and watch a movie, you know what I'm saying, and just like not have to think about anything. I love, being connected, and having conversations with my dad, who's 85 years old, and some of the things that he just, on any given day he'll say, you know what I mean, and make me laugh and just remind me how grateful I am just to be in recovery and still be alive, you know what I'm saying, to partake in that. You know, I love, I'm a 12 stepper. I love, part of my self-care is going to meetings on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I just feel comfortable there. Sometimes, nothing has to be going on, just being in that space, you know what I mean? And being around like-minded people helps me, feel like, like I belong. You know what I mean? So those are some of the routines that I do. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to read all of them, but again, I would ask, you know what I mean? As you look at these lists, you know what I mean, what are some of the things that you gravitate toward? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the things that are helpful? What are the things that you would like to try? You know, but I also wanted to, there are warning signs, right? You know what I mean? There's things that we should be looking at, you know what I'm saying? Because like, again, like grieving is not linear, right? But recovery is not linear either, meaning that like my wellness is not linear too. Not that I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm not living in that space, but knowing that I'm not exempt from anything either, right? So, you know what I mean? Again, for me, it's really important to have, you know what I mean? Have a really strong network. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, and I know people from all over the country like this, like my recovery has taken me to some amazing places. And I know people, you know what I mean? And my phone is full of numbers and everything. However, you know what I mean? I have a tight network. You know what I'm saying? There's some few people, man. There's some few cats, men and women who will risk my anger and tell me the truth. You know what I'm saying? Even when I don't want to hear it. And then you know what I mean? Like I need that. You know what I mean? So because sometimes I can't see my own blind spots. I can't see when there's a change of attitude or when I'm becoming pessimistic. Sometimes, when I'm, starting to complain just a little bit too much, or when I'm withdrawn or isolating, you know what I mean? When I don't want to show up, oh, you know what I mean? They got it, you know what I mean? And when I'm not keeping my commitment, you know what I mean? Or I'm like, romanticizing past use or a past life. You know what I mean? That wasn't really beneficial. You know what I'm saying? And I need to be able to tell myself the truth. You know, a huge one for me, like, neglecting self-care. Like, I'm big, like, even, and I learned this one, in treatment back in the 90s and in therapeutic community. Like, if I walk into my house or if I walk into my room and my bed is not made, and I'm not the most cleanest dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, but what I'm saying, like, if my space is really disorganized, then I probably need to take a look at that. There's probably something else going on, you know what I'm saying, with myself, you know what I mean? So just knowing that these could be warning signs. Not that anything is really bad or like the wheels haven't fallen off yet, but you know what I mean, that these may be signs of things that I need to pay attention to, you know what I'm saying, and take a look at like what's really, really going on. You know what I'm saying? And again, for this one as well, you know what I mean? What are the warning signs for you? What are the things that you notice that come up for you that you know that if this happens, you know what I mean? I may need to take a second look. Take a second look at it. Um, that's you, Jamie.
I was caught up into some of the chats as you were speaking, Tony. So developing developing a recovery action plan, right? We can do this by, having emergency contacts, lists of people to call when feeling the urge to use, right? Uh-oh. Did
I'm
it?
sorry. I'm having
No
technical
problem.
difficulties, right?
No problem. No problem. When you have the um, urge to use, you should have at least three people contacts. This whether you're a loner, you don't talk, you just like to write, but you can text, right? But really, you should have three emergency contacts or better, I believe, lists of people who you can confide in when you get to that place to have an urge to use, right? Having healthy coping strategies, activities to engage in when warning signs appear, such as exercise or a hobby, whatever works for you. That's, I want to say that, some people connect with the gym, some people connect with Mother Nature. They love just, being out in just nature itself, whether that's a walk through the woods, whether that's in the mountains, whether that's fishing or whatever else, right? Having a routine assessment, regular check-ins with yourself or sponsor to assess mental and emotional health. And one of the things I'm grateful about, me and Tony, our friendship goes, to want to pray. At times I may call Tony and say, hey man, look, this is what kind of day I'm dealing with, or a week that I've had or whatever else. And he supports me and, hugs me with a air hug, even though we're on the phone saying, well, Jamie, man, thank you for having the courage to allow me to come into your personal space and share that with me. And it's vice versa for him, right? So, yeah, and we do check-ins from time to time, right? Well, how's it going? What everything look like? Because we're in the same kind of field of the same population of people, and that's those who struggle with substance use disorders, mental health challenges, and also the displaced. Um, uh, Mindfulness and reflection, using a meditation or journaling to process your emotions constructively. I seen that in the chats right when we were kind of getting started. So I've seen a few of those. And and contingency planning, having a plan for high risk situations when they arise or when a trigger may arise. So do you want to speak into that one kind of, Tony, or we can go to the next slide? Either.
No, I think you did a good. I think you did a good job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, it varies for individuals, but you know what I mean. Having a contingency plan. You know what I mean? Just not if it's gonna happen, but when it happens. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody gets a turn. What am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I gonna call? And but one of the things, and and thank you for lifting our relationship up, right? One of the things that we do is that we call ourselves during good times, so that when something challenging comes up, we already feel comfortable enough around each other to have those tough conversations, right? So we spend time. I mean, and so what I would encourage everyone, like, who's that person, or who are the people or person who you spend time with that you're willing to take a risk, you know what I'm saying? And and get as we say in rooms, get butt naked. You know what I mean? Like, meaning, you know what I mean? Like getting raw, like getting vulnerable. Um,
Right. All right. Creating new meaning after loss. Is this?
that's it. That's you. You're going into the next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creating new meaning after loss, right?
So post-traumatic growth. Even though we talked about, I used the shock analogy and not want to deal with it. And I know exactly where I was at. Even though I was in one of my worst phases during my addiction when my grandma, when I found out that my grandma had passed. Now I'm a grandma's boy. I love my mom, but if anybody that knows me, I'm a grandma's boy, right? And I went through some trauma at the time, but there's some good that can also come up out of some types of trauma, right? We can glean from it and learn from it. And one of the things that it does, it gives us it can give us a new perspective far as developing a deeper appreciation for life and a change sense of priorities. My priorities used to be this, but now it's this. I'm investing now. I have the opportunity to invest into me and my wife's future, but that didn't come at an easy price or at a cheap price, because I I know that I lost a lot of things and went through some trauma in the past, but now that I've went through that, I'm able to look back on that and then say, "Man, thank you, God, for where I'm at today." And each and every one of us are in different places. But if you're in recovery and you're on this call, man, you're in a great place. You're in a great place. Another thing that we can grow from just out of trauma is just having that personal strength that it builds within you, right? As you look back and begin to see a memorial and just saying, man, okay, for me personally, I say, okay, well, God, you know what? I know I'm facing a challenge now, but I have some stones and some things that I've gathered along the way that when I was incarcerated this many times, you brought me through. When I went through this just far as on my job or didn't understand this, it wasn't the end of the day, and it made me stronger. Just with my inner self and with just my personal strength. It also one of the things that can be that we can grow from is improved relationships, experiencing more meaningful connections with others. And as Tony said, he encouraged everybody who's on this call or whatever else, that find that person that where you can confide in and have a relationship in, that you can be your real you, even when it's not your best you, and that they can share the same with you, man. I think everyone needs an accountability partner in their life like that. New possibilities. One of the things that have come that can come up for us is pursuing new interests and career paths or life directions. I had a board meeting, advisory board meeting today, and I've been having some conversations. And if I tell you the truth now, Pastor may put on the clean version of that little Dirk sometimes, man, and I'd be nodding and bumping to when he get to that part. Now I'm sitting down with the mayor and some politicians, and we having conversations, and those are things that are new possibilities in my life with other agencies that I'm having, and my board. My advisory board meeting was at Athens Clarke County Police Department because the chief of the department is on our advisory board as well. And I'm sitting there, man, and I'm facilitating a meeting and having new possibilities of how we can expand to help people who are not just grieving, but that are struggling with the needs in the field of what that we're working in. Spiritual development can come up out of that, deepening spiritual beliefs or understanding. Let me tell you something. My strongest prayer times, or my prayer life went deeper. It wasn't because everything was going good, because you can just say, okay, well, thank you, God, this and that there. But when times was tough, when I really was going through something or whatever else and didn't know what I was gonna do or whatever else, man, it put me on my face a little bit deeper, but I come back up stronger, right? Up out of that and begin to just trust God and believe in Him even more. So, and whatever that path may be for you, I told you what mine was, but whatever's working for you, continue to let that work for you if it's allowing you to be the best of you. Okay.
Thank you, Jamie. I just want to say, I mean, I love that. I love that. I love that post-traumatic growth, because what it tells me, just, I mean, that through the pain, through the pressure, that I can come out on the other side, like not just new and improved, but with just new and improved with just amazing new possibilities. Like I'm not the same person that I was like 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a matter of fact, this presentation was birthed out of pain. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, you know what I mean? And then we talked about this. So it's amazing that happens that way. You know what I'm saying? Want to talk a little bit about legacy building and memorializing. You know what I'm saying? Just because we're healing doesn't mean that we forget. And there's some things that we can do. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's some rituals. There's some like, I mean, just some, like, I mean, there's just some things that we can do in order to grow. You know what I'm saying? And still, just honor what we have grieved. You know what I'm saying? Honoring the loss, engaging in activities or projects that commemorate the loved one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even like I said, like it was yesterday was my late wife's birthday. You know what I mean? One thing that I do, you know what I'm saying, on her birthday is I make sure that I, you know what I mean, I always take flowers, you know what I'm saying, and balloons and just spend a little time and just have a conversation with her. Just let her know how how Desi, our grandson, is doing. You know what I'm saying? And it just helps me. You know what I'm saying? Like even though I moved on, I do have a son I did have a son after she passed, but however, I still haven't forgotten who she is. You know what I'm saying? And what she meant to me and what she still means to me. Finding ways to maintain a connection with the memory of the loved one. You know what I'm saying? That's through, again, birthdays, other holidays. You know what I'm saying? And just honoring like my mom, you know what I mean? We all miss my mother. Like my dad lives with me now, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny, it's not it's funny, it's amazing how like I lost my wife first, right? You know what I'm saying? And then I lost my mother, his wife, and how I was able to support him through that loss because of the experience that I felt. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that had to be a God thing. You know what I'm saying? Not in a million years would I have thought that that experience, you know what I mean, as painful as it was going to allow me to support my dad, you know what I mean, grieve the loss of his wife at the same time as I lost while I was grieving my mother. Again, using creative expressions, art, writing, other forms of creativity to express and remember the loved ones, being part of the community, you know what I'm saying, making the community better, you know what I'm saying, honoring my loved ones' memory by making sure that I behave in a way that would honor them, you know what I'm saying, through service. It's not always about in memory of Danielle or Miss Paula Sanchez, but just, you know what I mean, knowing that, that they would be proud of me, you know what I'm saying? And and the things that I'm a part of, you know what I'm saying? And so again, you know what I mean, I would ask you like what are some of the things that you gravitate towards, some of the things that you're already doing, some of the things that you would like to that you would like to do. You know what I mean? I want to reemphasize that this is not a one size fit all because we all experience life and we all experience hardship in different ways. But one of the things that I would encourage, you know, one of the things that I've learned is that I don't have to do this alone. You know what I'm saying? And again, I would emphasize that if, find that person, find that place, find your tribe where you can lean in and be your authentic self.
And Tony, I'll let you know you're on your last 15 minutes.
And I want to let you know out that this is the closing remarks.
Hey, Tony, real quick,
Yes, sir.
go back one slide, real quick. I just want to touch on it, please. Just,
Absolutely.
one that purchase ritual, and this piece means a lot to me because it meant it. What I'm getting ready to talk about my wife, how she grieved and still grieves with her mom to this day. So the personal ritual that she did for us, creating a personal ritual, was that when her mom passed when her mom passed, she got the ashes or whatever else, and she held the ashes. We moved three times, and I'm giving her space to grieve or whatever else. But I was spooked a little bit. I was like, "No, where you gonna keep it?" And I know she's emotionally tied into it. She was like, "She's gonna be in the house." I'm kind of, I'm yeah, okay. What about in the house? I'm just long as it ain't in the room, right? But what she did, she held her mom ashes probably for like 8 to 9 years. And when she got to the one day, she just told me, she said, "Jamie, look, okay, I think I'm ready to release my mom now. And where I want to release her at, I want to go to Lake Hartwell. And when we go down there, I want to release her and say bye, right? And bye, mom. I still love you. Even though I'm releasing you into the water, you always be carried into my heart." I was able to bring some music and Bluetooth some music during the time. We prayed together, me, her, and the grandkids. And that's just kind of the ritual that she used when it came to her mom. So if there's anyone on here that is similar into that place and you're still carrying or haven't carrying a loved one with you, whether it's in an urn or you haven't gotten to the point to know when to release. I won't put a timeline on that, but it is possible. And still to the day, my wife, she grieves in a different way, to where, she may just go off for probably a half a day and just stay up in the room, and it's just one of the ways that she grieves. Thanks, Tony.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. You know what I mean? Because we all do things different, right? But it's important. I like the way you support your wife.
Thank you.
So closing thoughts in integrating grief and recovery. So again, going back, grief is multifaceted process. It's unique, right? You know what I mean? We talked about that. It's unique to each individual and doesn't follow a set pattern or timeline. The stages of grief are not linear. You know, the stages are a guide, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's not a strict rule that's, we start off here and we end here. You know what I mean? Recovery does amplify grief, right? Those in recovery may feel grief a little bit more intensely, and are at risk for setbacks. So if we're supporting someone in recovery going through grief, just just creating a space where the individual can be, who, be themselves, you know what I'm saying? And just love them through it. Unresolved grief, can pose risks, not just, emotional, but also physical as well. You know what I'm saying? Healthy coping is crucial. You know what I'm saying? So find out, you know what I'm saying? Like find out what works. We talked about a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? And I know there's some things that you guys put in the chat as well. You know what I mean? But find out what works, you know what I'm saying? And take a risk to try some new things, you know what I'm saying? Because you never know what you like or what you do, what you like or do not like unless you try it, right? Mindfulness helps. Mindfulness exercises can regulate emotion and reduce the stress of grieving. Um, Reoccurrence prevention is key. Like, just recognizing the warning signs and having an action plan. You know what I'm saying? Again, not waiting for the other shoe to drop, but like, you know what I mean? Like Jamie said earlier, just keep living. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody gets a turn. You know what I'm saying? And if one of the things that we say in my circle is that, what I mean, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So, what we know is that, it's been my experience, right? That growth is possible. You know what I'm saying? That like while I was going through it, I didn't think it was gonna end. You know what I'm saying? Like I really didn't think the pain was so intense. You know what I mean? But like I am not the same individual that I was because of it, and I'm so grateful, man, that I was able to incorporate some healthy coping strategies and the love of the people, you know, um around me, people who came and supported me and loved me through it. And I couldn't have done it by myself. You know what I mean? But post-traumatic growth and legacy building can transform grief into meaningful personal development. You know what I mean? And with that, I want to say thank you. And I wanted to open it up. Like, I don't know, I mean, thank you, Alvin. And thank you,
Yeah.
Jamie. But Jamie and I are willing to stay for a while. If anybody that wants to to um to talk or share or have any questions, when we're here to answer. You know what I mean? And answer and just have a conversation and also learn from you as well. I want to go
So raise your Zoom hand if you want to say anything. I see Kayla Mickley right there. Hey, Kayla.
Hey, I was just gonna say, I lost my daughter before she was born. I didn't get to have a funeral or anything like that for her. And that's actually when my drug use started. And I never dealt with it until I got sober. Once I got sober, I'm schizophrenic.